honor of being joined by Mr. Samransi. He is a political leader from Cambodia who is now living in exile, I believe, in France. Mr. Ransi, thank you so much for giving me the time today. I would love to ask you so much about your life. I know you've done quite a lot, but I'm going to focus our conversation mostly today on the Thailand Cambodia border conflict and how dictatorship is kind of playing its role. Yesterday, when I spoke to you, you told me that Hun Sen is caught in the trap of his own dictatorship. And I would love to hear you expand on that a bit and tell me more about what you think his current motives are. Because a lot of people are speculating, and I think that there's probably nobody that knows better than you because you've worked with him.
So, hello everybody. Thank you, Matt, for inviting me to have this interview with you. I am very happy to answer your question about the current situation in Cambodia. Cambodia is under a dictatorship for over 40 years. It is not only a one-party system. It is a one-man system. Hun Sen does everything himself. Therefore, Hun Sen cannot afford to have any liberalization of his system. He is caught in his system because if he allows freedom of expression, demonstration, etc., I think his regime would collapse. The same with the free and fair elections. All the elections we have seen in Cambodia over the last 30 years have been manipulated, except the one organized by the United Nations in 1993 when Hun Sen and his party lost the election. But if there were any real, genuine, free and fair election, he would lose again, I am sure, and the Cambodian people know it.
That said, like being that he's a one person leader, as you described, a one man system, what do you think that his current motives are involving the current border conflict between Thailand and Cambodia?
Hun Sen's only motive, I would say dominant motive, is to cling on to power. He would do anything to remain in power because if he loses power, he would lose everything, especially impunity. He needs to ensure through absolute power, he needs to ensure immunity for, for himself because he has committed so many crimes during his long reign. So he cannot afford to step down. He has stepped down, but only nominally. He appointed his son Hun Manet, but actually Hun Sen is still behind the scene, pulling the strings, leading effectively the current regime in Phnom Penh.
So, what do you think that he stands to benefit from destabilizing relationship between Thailand and Cambodia?
Of course, any dictator, big or small, because they face internal problems, they have to divert attention and to create external tension. This is the case with Hun Sen regarding the conflict with Thailand over the last few months.
Yesterday, when we talked ahead of this conversation, we talked a bit about a couple of kind of almost like conspiracy theories, and I think that normally I won't address conspiracy, but I think that with you, because you've actually been inside of this machine, kind of, I'm just curious. You mentioned that there was the idea that there's political parties in Thailand that are potentially pushing or involved in helping Hun Sen to destabilize the situation between the two countries. And I'm wondering, can you elaborate on that?
I think Hun Sen committed a big mistake. He wants to divide the Thai establishment, Thai political parties, but he failed. He was very mean in exposing the conversation he had with former Thai Prime Minister. But this is very mean. And he said he would reveal personal secret when he was in good relationship with Thaksin Shinawatra. But again, this is very mean. And actually, if I understand well, I see the Thai political parties, the Thai establishment unite against Hun Sen. So Hun Sen wants to interfere in Thai internal affairs, but it backfired against Hun Sen.
He did win the last election, and then he handed down the power to his son, Hun Manet, as the now prime minister. And there's a lot of talk that Hun Manet had been abroad. I think he was educated abroad. And some people believe that Hun Manet is actually trying to potentially become more international for Cambodia. And that doesn't really work if you're a dictator, right? So I just wonder, what are your thoughts on the future of the situation regarding Prime Minister Hun Manet and his ability to maybe, I don't know, decrease dictatorship? Is that possible?
Hun Sen has never won any election. I mean, any real and genuine and free and fair election.
Mm.
He always manipulate the election through the National Election Committee, which is under his orders. Contrary to Thailand, Thailand you have a very vibrant political life, but elections in Thailand are genuine. They are recognized by all parties, including opposition parties. But in Cambodia, either the opposition is just oppressed and cannot win any real election, or the opposition is just eliminated and is not allowed to take part in any election. So elections in Cambodia is meaningless, is worthless. This means that Hun Sen has no legitimacy. The Hun Sen regime has no legitimacy, whether with Hun Sen as a prime minister or with Hun Manet as a prime minister. But Hun Manet is just a puppet. He has no charisma, no personality, no capacity in whatsoever. So actually, he is just doing what his father, the strong man, orders him to do. So we have to watch what Hun Sen wants, and giving his style, we can guess his move. And I think this is very interesting because we feel that Hun Sen is more and more isolated, and his regime will not last very long.
Okay, that was my next question to you. You just said that the regime will not last very long. And considering all of what you've already said, that the goals would be to, obviously, if you're a dictator, you want to consolidate the power, have immunity, have your impunity as well. But geopolitically, if you look at this conflict from the perspective of like China, America, these types of things, what do you think that his end goal is internationally? Like, how can he possibly come away from this conflict with some kind of international support? Because I don't know if it's possible for him to gain any more in Cambodia.
I think Hun Sen realizes now that his policy, especially foreign policy, is not working because there is a big contradiction. On the one hand, Hun Sen embraces China. He's blindly supports China and hopes that China would support him and defend his regime. But on the other hand, Cambodia's economy and now diplomacy needs the West, especially the US. So he, in support for China, he considers the US as an enemy. But the US is the biggest export market for Cambodia. Without the US market, Cambodia's industry, especially the garment industry, would collapse, and the whole economy would collapse. And we can see recently how Hun Sen needs the intervention of the US, especially Donald Trump, to impose a ceasefire with Thailand, because without this ceasefire, I think the Hun Sen regime would